our DNA. Like this goes back 40, I don't even know how many years, way before, you know, white ladies came along and took it for ourselves, you know? So just, you know,
No,
this
that's so
isn't
true.
our thing,
Yeah.
but it is now. So
We're claiming that shit.
Yeah, that's
Love is love. Love is love. Adios.
Again, we're still going to shit talk, but this is really this season is specifically for us to just really update and have everybody live like at a better potential. You know what I mean? I think 2024 is kind of like our Kobe year. So we all want to move a little bit forward, live a little bit better, and enter our year of the greatness that all of us have access to. Fair
Hey.
enough? So with that being
We're
said,
ready.
Rachel, if you want to give us a little bit of your background,
Sure.
tell us why we brought you here, even though we asked, and we'll go from there.
Sure. I have been a personal trainer, health coach for more than half my life, officially, 21 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I just left corporate fitness to begin my business, Earth and Iron Wellness. And I'm doing virtual training, health coaching, women's retreats, and then little micro events or workshops that are more, I'm trying to get people out into nature, get them grounded, and have them think differently about what wellness really is. It's not just the gym. It's not just what you eat. It's a whole lot more. So I'm trying to figure out how can I take all those different layers, put a nice package together, put a bow on it for people to really get excited about living again.
Wow.
Well, excuse me. One of the first things that we did with you outside of the gym, and it was new to Tony and I, was the entire Soundbath thing.
Yes.
Okay, so if you would, Tony, I know it was new for you. It was definitely new for me. Kind of go into your experience with that. And then after that, Rachel, if you will, kind of tell us what a sound bath is and the thoughts behind, like the thoughts that go kind of into what a sound bath can do for you, the benefits, misconceptions, things like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, babe, how was it for you when you first did your sound
Oh
bath?
my gosh. So for starters, you did it in like the most beautiful place ever. We're so blessed to live here to where we can go do stuff like that in those areas, Snow Canyon. But I always had like, and I think I can preach for a lot of people, like kind of, oh, I don't know about that type of, you know, idea about sound baths or meditation or any of that. So I feel like 2024, I'm stepping into my wellness, like getting more of just an understanding of what it is besides going to the gym and drinking water.
Yes.
And not being so like, not turned up my nose, but I just was like, oh, that's not for me. I think people think it's just for granolas or tree huggers or whatever.
Yes.
But like really the data and scientific evidence behind it, there is actually a lot more good than anything that comes from it. But with the sound bath, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to try it. All my friends do it. I love them all so much. They're such good souls. I'm just going to try it. And it was like such a beautiful experience. And I think everyone should try it at least once. If it's not for you, that's fine. But just try it, you know?
Exactly. I know. When I saw you two walking up, I was already immediately proud.
You're like, who are these?
because I knew you were probably already uncomfortable before you had even arrived.
I've been a hippie for like 20
Pat's
years.
way. So I feel like the only reason I would ever do that is because of him, you know? Like, yeah, like, I don't know. I feel like now I'm way more open to it, but he's been like a low-key hippie for a long time.
Like walks on the ground.
People
barefoot.
think he's like,
I didn't know that.
yes,
Okay.
people think he's like just like some like city dude that like is super serious and stuff. I'm like, actually, he's like a low-key hippie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and I felt the same way. So when I first went to had a sound bath, I was at a retreat as a facilitator, and somebody else was running the sound bath. And in general, like my relationship with my spiritual health has always been not present, honestly, because in my mind it was like religion, like that's the thing, and I'm just like, that doesn't resonate with me.
Right.
So I had this sound bath, and I felt I had a whole visceral reaction from it. Like my body, my head felt floaty. And so it had my attention, right? As a trainer, I was like, what's this? Like someone's banging on some bowls and suddenly like I'm feeling better mentally and I'm feeling lighter. Like there's something to this. So that's usually one of the reasons I'm in fitness, is it's like endless. Like you can learn forever and ever. And I will go down. I still go to the library. Like I love, love to learn. So I had this experience. And so I dug into it. I had some previous experience with Reiki, with body work, which is essentially like making sure your energy is flowing how it should through different energy chakra centers in your body. And I came to learn that the bowls, each tone, each hertz is attuned to a different energy source in your body. So the goal is really to like get through any blocks. Like I felt like I had a lot of like heart blockage for a long time, just like a lot of, I don't even know what I would call it, like just walking around angry about how things were, just collectively for everybody, for me personally, just like chip on my shoulder. And music has always really hit me, like emotionally. Like I'm the girl crying in her car, driving to the gym because I heard a sad
Express.
song. Yeah.
All I hear is needy bitch. But
So that's me. Like music has always moved me. So now to have this different experience. So I bought a set of bowls. I saved up for them, bought a set of bowls and started playing. And I actually, because I thought it was so weird and woo-woo,
Yeah,
I didn't
woo-woo.
tell a soul. I didn't tell anyone. I told a couple friends. I bought these bowls and I played them for myself. And I did it for myself. And I'm sure you guys too feel a lot like sometimes I want to like have some privacy or like intimacy with myself. I don't want to share everything all the time.
Right.
And that was one of them that took me a long time. One, I wanted it for myself. And two, like I was like, this is embarrassing. Like people are going to think Rachel's totally lost it. So of course we had a retreat coming up and I was like, you know what? This is the time. I'm going to share this. It resonated with me. Let's see how it goes for other people. And so that's how I kind of got into sharing it with other people. And it hits everyone different. Some people feel it more than others. I feel like every sound bath I've ever had meant there's at least one man there who is snoring, like totally out.
Yeah, sleep.
Shane. Calling you out. But yeah, so it's just, it's about bringing, like, we are these very ancient bodies living in a very modern, fast world. And so I feel like the more I get into wellness, the more I return to things that we used to do that are like in our DNA. Like this goes back 40, I don't even know how many years, way before, white ladies came along and took it for ourselves, So just,
No,
this
that's
isn't
so true.
our thing,
Yeah.
but it is now. So
We're
but that's
claiming that shit.
Yeah, that's my goal. Is like I'm trying to give people a menu of options. Like here's a bunch of different things that might help you feel better. Like what
love
works.
so when you do sound baths and you talk about it, each bowl correlates to a particular chakra.
Yes.
Are there a certain amount of sound, like actual bowls, as there are? I think there's 9 chakras or 7 besides the 2 that are outside of your head.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah, good, yeah,
So
good.
are there 9 bowls that correlate to that? Or are there 7 bowls that
Yep.
correlate to that?
There's 7, and they each, all the way from the crown to your sacral. So each one, the lower tones are kind of like the lower body, like the gut area, and some of the higher tones are thinking like heart, head, third eye. And there's so many different ways now to use tech to also kind of like measure or track your aura too. There's another practitioner in town, St. George, Holly, who does aura readings. So she can figure out like where you might be blocked and then listen to sounds or have energy work done that can help clear that, to open it up or maybe close it. Maybe it's too active because you want to balance. You don't want like your brain buzzing all the time, but you got like a gut ache. Like, so it's really about just how can we get energy flowing properly.
Yeah. Making a soft transition. So Tony's background is actually she practiced outpatient physical therapy for a while. She's still licensed, so she still knows
awesome.
things. But in getting into this, I've been meditating for a while. And you've kind of gotten into it too.
I'm dipping my toe in.
Yeah.
That's good. That's how it starts.
So I guess my question.
I'm gonna have a full sleeve here soon.
I guess my question for you, babe, have you noticed a correlation from the meditative type practices where whether either it's sound bath or just intentional thinking that can correlate to like processes that you've used in physical therapy?
No. I don't think so.
No, that's a vibe.
this whole thing is like way new to me. I didn't learn about any of this type of stuff in school, or did we really practice any of this in my workplace? But like, obviously, like moving your body, taking care of yourself, like that sort of thing, like obviously that's going to come with wellness and fitness and any of that, like, you know, space. But honestly, I just a week ago listened to my first Audible book.
All right.
We're dipping our toes
We're doing
in.
it. 2024.
I've never ever listened to self-help, self-care,
Sure.
none of that. I've never had any other source of anything. It's just been me and myself and I. And I feel like I've done okay, but I just know that like with the meditation and like learning more about it, and even the sound bath, I didn't know anything about this until just now. I didn't even know any of this. Now I'm like, wait, I gotta do another one, because it's like there's so much meaning behind it that like I feel like nobody really knows.
Yes.
And I feel like people are getting more open to these ideas because of social media and TikTok, and like it's kind of trendy to be wellness, you know, be like tapped into your wellness, but there's really like a lot of benefits from it. But with the sound bath specifically, I like didn't know any of this. So like I'm just learning so much just from like, and it's probably like you're used to the like this lifestyle, and like you probably like, oh, everyone knows this, but like honestly, it's so good to hear, because I have had like no idea. I've done it, but I don't know what it's for.
Yeah.
Rachel, how do you go about, especially from the personal training side, or any type of training side, how do you go about integrating wellness practice like sound bath and meditation into like your overall, I guess, programs or plans, if you do?
Yeah, I do. I make sure I kind of like ask for permission, or like at least ask, hey, are you open to this? Because if people aren't, it's not going to happen. But I try to tee it up as thinking differently. So like meditation, I try to make it really welcoming and personal. So like you can, I have trouble sitting and meditating, but I know when I hike and I go on a walk, the purpose of meditation isn't necessarily to like clear your thoughts. It's to be fully present right here and now. Yeah. And if I sit in silence, I'm just alone with my thoughts. Doesn't really feel very meditative to me. But if I'm out, if I'm moving, even lifting weights, kettlebells in particular are very meditative. I can get into a flow. So there's lots of different ways to almost like reframe what people think it is, and look at what are you doing now, and where can we just like put it in. Because I like to have the mindset of including and not taking away. Like, you're a new client. Oh, well, guess what? You don't get beer. You have to go to the gym every day. Like, no, where can we add more healthy habits? And so it's just as little as that, like doing some breath work before you go into the gym, being really present during your workout, like have a good playlist on or a podcast, and like really get into your body and like feel around, and like, here's a pain, or gosh, I feel really strong here, and just like more in the moment opportunities.
Wow. I like that you said, because I feel like people stray away from meditation because they do think they have to sit cross-legged.
Yes.
On the ground.
Yes.
And like turn on this music. They don't really know what they're doing. Guided is obviously, if you want to do it that way, guided is good for beginners, from my book that I've been listening to.
Yes. Yes.
And like, that's how we started, which
Hold
that
on.
helped me.
Fuck
That helped me.
Fuck that.
That helped me.
No, bro. Right? I swear.
I know what you're going to say.
Nah,
I can tell her the same thing.
Same thing 1,000 times.
And I'm not going to listen unless it's from somebody else.
Crackhead down the street be like, oh, you should do this. Like, oh, word? Yeah, 100%.
No, it's so true. Every time Pat tells me these things, I'm like, no. But like, if I hear it from somebody else, I'm like, oh my God. I love this idea. Let me do it.
Yeah, you just got this shit for free. You gotta go buy a whole.
No, because Pat is so like, you know, he wants me to be my best self and all this stuff.
Yes.
But for some whatever reason, when he's like telling me, I don't want to do it. But
sure.
Anyway, the point of my point was that I feel like people think that's what meditation is. And I love that you're bringing like a whole nother idea about it, of like, it doesn't have to be that way. Because I think a lot of people get uncomfortable with that. And so they immediately shut it off.
Yes.
But just even like just connecting or being present within the moment, like you were saying. I think that's really the overall basis of, quote, the word meditation.
Well, and a lot of, so like part of my job, I feel like, or part of like my purpose to be in this space is to actually kind of like dismantle the fitness industry itself. Like most people's idea of fitness or meditation or whatever has come from like an ad, from marketing or a celebrity, where it's not authentic. It's like, it's trying to sell you on the idea that this is right. And that just like, I will be a trainer forever trying to stop that, because that's not what it is. Like, I'm trying to empower people to have full sovereignty over their body. Like, I always tell my people, like, I want this to feel like freedom. I want this to feel like a celebration that you are doing all the things that you love. Yes, some days are going to be harder than others, or you don't want to go. But overall, you're excited and you're in the mindset of exploration, because that's what it is. Like, this is a strange little machine, little vessel that we're just kind of like housed in. So how can I help you better understand and have a really good relationship with this body that holds your soul, the most valuable piece of you, right? Because we're just, popping in for a short time.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting is, and correct me if I'm wrong. Mm-hmm. What I got is your attention is always being pulled at, because there's so many ways to pull at your attention, and not just from a physical standpoint, but a mental standpoint, being aware of where you focus your attention.
Yes.
And designing some type of discipline around that is ultimately freedom.
Yes.
Is that
yes?
Fair? Okay.
That's exactly it. And especially like, we're living in late capitalism, so attention is the currency, right? And so like, even me getting on a call with a new client and having them be like, hey, like, actually, let's pay attention to how do you feel? What do you think? What does healthy mean to you? No one's ever asked them, because it's always just been like, this is what it is, buy this thing, do this thing. They've never got to really sit down and be like, what do I want this to look like and feel like? And that's where that powerful moment comes from, where you can really get motivated and have some discipline, because at some point it's just a part of who you are. It's just a habit that you run with.
Right. I'm curious to hear from both of you. When it comes to someone, whether it be from a physical therapy standpoint or a Pilates standpoint, or from a healthy practitioner, whatever word, you know what I'm trying to say. What are, would you say, the top 2 questions that you get from a beginner? Like, what are people typically coming for?
Oh,
Go.
So the majority of my clients, their goal is simply consistency. And we had talked about this a little bit before, about the importance of the types of goals that you set should be action-based. So maybe the outcome is losing 30 pounds or sleeping better. But what I'm interested in is like the action goal that will get us the outcome. So most people come to me, more than half of our population is obese. So most people want some kind of weight loss, but in general, they're just not feeling good.
Yeah.
They know they're not feeling good. A lot of people are still working from home. They're still isolated. And I think without saying it, they're looking for community support, consistency, and a plan. They want someone else to take it off their plate.
It's me. I'm that person.
Right? Because like, think about, it's like, what is that decision paralysis, where we wake up and we start making decisions, and like by the time we get to the gym at night, we're like, oh. Or like, the question that the girls always get made fun of, like, what do you want to have for dinner? And we're like, I don't know. Because we just like cannot make another decision. So to have someone swoop in and take that off your plate is like one of I think the most valuable things that a trainer can do.
Wow. Yeah. So what is your title, would you say?
I think I'm a personal trainer, health coach.
Health coach, yeah.
I very much lean into the health coach approach, because I don't think movement is the answer. It's a lot of different things. But movement acts as a catalyst for a lot, right? So like, once we start moving, we have more energy. Once we have more energy, now we're thinking about meal prepping. Once we're thinking about meal prepping, how much protein. So it's kind of like, a lot of times it's pulling people back in the beginning and saying like, hey, I honestly, a lot of people, we will not even have the nutrition conversation until we have the habit of movement for a while.
Right.
So I'm like, we'll come back to this. Right now, I just want you to move for 20 minutes a day. If we can do that, then let's talk about what's next.
And do they have like you check in with them and they are, if they're doing that, they just say, yeah, I'm doing that. And then you just like coach them through the next phase.
Yeah, I use like a third party, an app to help deliver it. So it gives me tons of data, heart rate, range of motion.
So you can really see if they're moving?
Yeah, sets, reps. Yeah, they can see.
Like, oh shit. Yeah, I did my 20 minutes.
You mentioned something.
Tony's over here like, I did my workout. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Doesn't
Were
look
you
like
dead?
it.
'Cause I don't see the heart rate.
I was like, we worked out this morning twice. I was playing.
Just my caffeine intake, my heart rate is up.
No, you mentioned something and I want to touch back on it, so sorry for cutting you off.
No,
but
you're good.
No, you mentioned action-oriented goals, but you also said that the overall goal shouldn't be, is a good thing, but it shouldn't be the main thing you focus on. Mm-hmm. We're going through a book right now called the 12-week year. You ever heard of this?
I've heard of the book, but I haven't read it.
Okay, so you mentioned one of the main concepts in there, and it's
Go girl.
well, it's all action, but it's they phrase it as lead indicators versus lag indicators, right?
Ooh, I like that.
Your lag indicator would be, I want to lose X amount of pounds.
Sure.
Right? Which that's not necessarily measurable. What is, or that's not actually a consistent action you can do. What goes into losing that? We all know.
Yes.
But a lead indicator of that would be, okay, I'm going to only have X amount of calories per day. I'm going to go to the gym X amount of times per week. I'm going to check in with a coach X amount of times per month. And that's the things that you can do ahead of trying to reach that goal. And they all have to be action oriented. So I'm actually glad you brought that up. When it comes to goal setting in particular, from both of you, or even just you, Rachel, what do you think some indicators of success that you've seen from your coaching and stuff that you say, okay, I know if you're doing these things, you're on the right path, or you're on a path that you're definitely going to be better than you were beforehand?
Sure. You know, what's so funny? I was just talking to another coach that in that initial call, I always have a really good gut sense of whether or not I know this person is going to like move forward and do this thing. It's just like an energy that they're bringing, or almost an excitement or curiosity. So I would say, I actually already forgot what you asked me.
Oh, just indicators of indicators from the outset. Hey, this is going to be this client, or if this client does these particular things, I know success is going to be higher than not.
Gotcha. Okay. Movement. And again, that's really interpretive. Like I have a client in a wheelchair. Mm-hmm. And so we really sat down and strategized, because I was like, what do you think is more realistic? If we do 30, 45 minutes 3 times a week, or we get you moving every day for 10 minutes. And she chose every day for 10 minutes, which is what I was hoping she would choose. But I want to give people options and be real and have some self-awareness. So I think it's about having high level of self-awareness. Let's be honest. And looking at your schedule, like what can we fit in? We have to move, for sure, some protein. We got to hydrate. Sleep is important, but it's also one of the tougher ones to tackle for a lot of people. Rooms, you want cold, dark, quiet, but a lot of people get thrown off track by their partner snoring or their schedule or whatever else. So I would say my big ones are movement, protein, hydrate, sleep, and then managing stress in a healthy way.
Gotcha. Babe, what do you think some of the hardest things are about keeping goals?
Maybe getting paralyzed when you realize you're not doing what you need to do and be accountable for that. Mm-hmm. I feel like a lot of times, like if I have to write something down, or if I have to say, oh yeah, I'm going to do this, speaking it or saying it or writing it down, like I know I have to.
Yeah. And
so sometimes I avoid making the accountability of writing it down or telling him, yes, I'm going to do this, because I know he's going to make me do it.
Yes, that's a good
And if
partner.
I have like a fear of it, or it's making me uncomfortable, or I think it has to be a certain way, I like get paralyzed. Like I don't do anything.
Yeah.
because I feel like, so a lot of times for me, I've never like really set goals or anything. I'm just such a go with the flower. And that's, you know, I'm like, I don't even know how I have half the stuff that I have for not planning. I know if I can freaking plan and stick to it and actually execute it, I'm going to be a whole lot better.
Yeah.
So like that was our New Year's thing this year is like, I'm like, okay, I know I need to change something and I know what it is. I'm self-aware of what it is, my personality and how I normally do things. Like I've gotten here, but I want to go here. So I've got to change some things. But my biggest thing is like holding myself accountable.
Yes.
And like, I know if I say it or write it down or do the 12-week plan with him, I'm going to have to do it. And that
Yes.
scares me. I was so fearful of this Monday because it was our week 1 yesterday.
Okay.
And I'm just like, okay, just do it. It's okay.
How did Monday go? So
It was really good.
Okay, a little bit. So a little bit of background.
Okay.
It's about this 12-week year, and essentially, we make an overall vision. We have goals, and what we're doing is the more goals you do, typically the worse.
Sure.
So have a couple, 2 or 3 set goals that you want to
Yes.
accomplish, right? Then you have tactics that are action oriented that you can implement every day or every week, or and you keep track of those, right? So we spent all of last week not trying to rush it, building this what we think is a monster, right?
Yeah.
And then a piece of that is literally scheduling out your week, putting down what you're going to do, when
Like
you're going to do it.
blocked time.
Yes.
And
Good.
even having strategic blocks, blocks where you have to do your administrative work, and then essentially you're just taking the things that are going to move the needle the most and making sure you get those into your week. So with that being said, week 1, day 1, one thing I found out is the more disciplined I am just in my week, the more freedom I actually have.
Yes.
And the more the ability I can see, oh, dude, you're wasting so much time scrolling aimlessly for zero reason
Yes.
whatsoever.
I have one more thing to say and then
Yeah.
we'll let
No,
you
go
talk
ahead.
more.
Yeah.
I was going to say that for me, if I don't feel like I've been productive, I go down like a really bad mental space. So like if I feel like I know I'm supposed to be doing something, I don't really know what I'm supposed to be doing, I like go to a negative space mentally. If I'm planned like we were yesterday and I stick to the plan and I get these things done, I don't go to that place.
Interesting.
And so I feel like this will be so good for me because I'm like, why do I feel this way? Why am I like going down these, like normally I'm like,
I think
don't
it's that
have
attention
those.
thing.
A what?
I think it's that attention thing because our attention is pulled in so many different
Places.
directions. When you're not doing something that you feel is productive and you have the time to let your attention wander,
Yeah.
it's like, oh shit, you realize I'm just wasting time.
Yeah.
yeah.
Especially when you want to be a productive individual.
Yeah. It's
But
like,
yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I get like good feelings from being productive. I get like fulfillment and stuff from helping people and doing all these things and everything. So like just planning it and sticking to a plan, like your clients probably, like actually sticking to a plan, having
Yes.
somebody like hold you accountable to that plan for whatever reason. It's easier when you have somebody that's holding you or that you have to like talk, like, yes, I did my 20 minutes, like having an accountability partner makes such a difference. And like, sometimes I hate him for it, but I know that he has my best interests at heart, even though I don't want to get up and I don't want to do that right now.
Yeah, well,
Good, Pat.
And I'm emotion based and he's not emotion based. So
really, I couldn't tell.
no, well, so again, practical advice: if you have a goal or somewhere you want to go, and please cut me off or interject as you see fit, write it down. Make the goals actionable and don't try to do 1,000 things at once.
Yeah.
Pick
Yes.
one thing you want to get good at.
that's what yeah.
Pick the days in which you're going to work on this particular thing and not let any distractions get to you and just see where you end up and make sure you have somebody that's going to keep you accountable. And if you don't, get real accountable with that
With
mirror.
with yourself.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
probably way more powerful than having an accountability
100%.
partner. Like
Yeah.
actually holding and I feel like I'm dipping into that a little bit more, but like really like holding yourself accountable.
Oh yeah, I just I don't know. Maybe I put it on my story a couple weeks ago about accountability, right? Because that's one of, if not like the majority of what I do is helping hold people accountable. But I can't drive across the country and knock on your door and be like, "What are you doing? You haven't logged a workout." So
Yeah.
I always tell people like, I can only hold you as accountable as you hold yourself.
Right.
And I will help you with that. I will
Right.
coach you on it. I was like, but that is a more complex piece. It can be emotional. People hold shame around it. And then I also remind people too, like, also schedule time to not be productive.
Right.
To allow, especially you two are so creative, like a space where you can daydream a little bit or go out and like, you know, do some grounding and something else. So accountability is a huge piece. It pulls into discipline, into having a plan, and also being real with yourself and making sure that you're not like holding shame if it doesn't go like, you know, around exactly how you planned. You still have a plan. You're still moving forward. It's a new day. You can always start again. We don't need a new year to start a new thing. We can literally start right now.
Yes. And it's okay to begin again.
Yes.
Without being,
a million times.
Yes.
Through your life.
I feel like
through your
that's
day.
been a thing for me lately is just begin again.
Yes.
Sis, you got this.
See, and those are good little mantras.
Yeah, like if I get myself where I'm like, oh my gosh, what have I been doing? I've just been freaking wasting so much time, like, and start going down that rabbit hole.
Yes.
To like pause. It's okay. Just begin again. Make a better choice
100%.
coming, and then you'll be better off than keep going down this rabbit hole of negativity. For
Yes.
you can switch it. Your mind can switch it.
100%.
It's a
And make an
strategy.
action to switch it,
Yeah,
you know?
we talk about these because we literally we're majority of we're in the gym more than we're not typically
Yes.
in a year's time, all of us, and there's inevitably damn, that's a hard ass word.
Inevitably.
Don't ask me to say it. I'm not going to try.
Yeah, you know what the fuck I'm trying to mean. But
I'm trying to say not mean.
no, you know what I'm trying to mean. But no,
Oh my God.
there's gonna be a point to where that workout that you were so excited to do, you're halfway through it and you realize it hasn't been what it is. There's nothing preventing you from saying, you know what, the next 30 minutes of this is going to be the best workout I've ever had. And you
Yes.
always have that option.
Just literally a
And
mind switch.
For whatever reason, we try to court, at least me, I try to court the gym in sports will teach you a lot of life lessons.
Yes.
And so the consistency there is, for whatever reason, the same mental consistency that you should keep in life outside the gym as well.
Oh,
too.
yeah.
Or
I-
outside of just fitness, I guess I should say.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I tell, especially for women in particular, I tend to, maybe I just see it more because I'm a woman, like I relate to it. But the resiliency that we build in the gym starts to come out in other areas, right? Like you're more confident, you're standing your ground a little bit more. You just feel more strong and empowered, and like taking that energy back out into whatever you do is like honestly life-changing.
100%.
It really is. And like I said, I tend to see it a lot more with women where you just kind of like, I see it coming. Like, cause I don't say anything because I'm just, you know, I'm here to support. But like you see it coming and I'm like, she's building this like power behind her because she feels strong and fit and like she can do this and she is doing this. And it's really just about moving consistently and throwing some weights around and knowing that not every day is going to be perfect, but really like that's not even the goal. It's just like, how can we build strong hearts, minds, and bodies?
Yeah. I love it. I'm like, always, for whatever reason, I'm always like been drawn to women or just women energy or whatever. When I did physical therapy, I loved women's health.
Yes.
Like pelvic floor, postpartum, prepartum, like that was like, I loved it so much. So I have like a soft place for women.
Yes.
And like, I feel like a lot of times comparing or feeling emotional or whatever, like compared to like Pat being so practical and always keeping me in line practically or however you say it. But I was just going to say that like for women specifically, like just starting and proving to yourself that you can do maybe one exercise that you have never even dared to try because you just don't think you can do it for whatever reason. And then you do it. And then that like sparks of like, oh my gosh, I can do this thing. And then with time it builds up the confidence and like, then they're feeling strong and then they're feeling pretty and then they're feeling sexy. And like all these things come with movement in general, or like, oh, I'm nervous to start Pilates. Like maybe just start it at home on the mat with the YouTube video and like just tap into like just starting anyway or anyhow. You don't have to like go to the gym and get on a hard machine. It's like maybe just get some dumbbells at Five Below and start trying little things in your house first, you know, to try and like dip your foot into all the things that could come.
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
And our bodies are like, they're clever. Like I don't know, hopefully maybe I should ask a therapist this and not you guys, But I tend to speak to my body as if it's something else, like somebody else, like my bestie. Like
Oh, I
I
love
talk, like
that.
I kind of like, what do we need today? Like what's going on? Like it just helps me, like, I don't know, like really communicate back. And we just hold so much. I could go down we could do a whole nother episode about like how we hold trauma and generational trauma,
and I
like
think we should do this.
yeah, so many things. And so especially on the men's side of things too, like I don't even know if I think this is my gut. I feel like 2024 is a year of like we're gonna see men come back into like a healthy, healed space. Like it's been coming. I feel it. It's just an energy, and I think movement is gonna be a huge part of that.
Wow, I love
A
that.
big outlet.
I hope so.
I would say I would say this. There is the more knowledge we get from everybody,
Yes.
the more we realize how much we don't actually know.
Ah, yes.
There is I think the terms was like healthy masculinity, unhealthy masculinity, or toxic masculinity, which was coined by a dude randomly. But if I could say anything to any dude listening, it is okay to be vulnerable. It is okay to have emotion. It is okay not to be okay. It is okay to be insecure. It is okay to feel less than, and it is okay to want to get better. What is not okay is realizing it and staying there. I had a conversation with a buddy a couple weeks ago, and I just told him, dude, like, I want you to feel the best version of yourself. So if you need to just talk about it, bro, you don't have to hold on to baggage that's not even for a trip that you want to go on. And as men, we do it because you got to be strong. Well, dude, you can be strong and be honest with yourself.
Yes.
Vulnerability is a strength. No, don't tell your girl everything because she might leave you, bro.
Keep it to yourself. No.
But I'm saying, but that also
Choose your words wisely.
I know. What I'm saying is that might not be the girl for you.
Sure. Yes.
There is strength in numbers. It's a cliche because it's true. Get good people around you, bro.
Yeah.
And if you don't have anybody, DM me. I'll hype you up. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But I see women, and that's one thing I commend about women, because y'all are so good at being there for each other.
For
Yes.
real.
And
Yeah.
I think that's, as we get more connected, you see men get further and further apart. And I think that's one thing that we can all do as bros, is just reach out. At the gym, I'm always like, hey, bro, you look good. Keep working hard.
Well, the girls at the gym definitely hype each other
Yeah,
up. But I feel like we're all in a healthy place
Yes.
where we are okay with somebody like looking good. We're not, like still struggling with like, we're all finding our own strength within the gym to where we can compliment somebody else. And it's coming from a genuine place. And we're happy for that person for doing all this things they're doing and all the success they're having, like, I feel like once we can all get to a point of like loving ourselves and being healthy within ourselves
Yes.
as ourselves, like the world, and I feel like the world is going to that place.
Yes.
And also I was talking to my mom last night, and she was telling me that my sister has 2 little boys, and just letting the little boys know at 7 years old or however old they are, tell me how you're feeling. It's okay to have emotion.
Yes.
And like my sister is instilling in her 2 sons that like it's okay to talk about your feelings.
Yeah.
It doesn't make you less than of a man, and like kind of navigating, like, obviously you want them to be strong. Obviously you want them to be manly or whatever, but to let them know that it's okay. And I hope that like with all the talk about mental health and healthy living and all these things with time, and social media can be shitty, but it also has a good outlet for like these types of conversations that can really help the younger generation and time moving forward, that it's okay to not be okay.
Well,
and it's okay to talk about it, and it doesn't make you, less than,
well, universal,
especially as a man.
yeah, universal law, right? Like attracts like. The better you feel about yourself, the more willing you are, at least for me, to give out that good feeling
Yes.
to other people,
Give.
knowing that it's going to come back as well
Yeah.
too. So
Yes.
it's just that like we need to make a universe full of happier people. I feel.
Yeah. Yeah. It's that's exactly what happens. And I think too, like men are probably already some are often uncomfortable, like sharing emotion or sharing hard things, and to another man in particular, like they have to have the ability to hold space.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what women tend to do really well, is that we're lean on the more emotional side on this couch. But we're used to sitting and just holding space and letting someone be upset and say things and not try to fix things, just like simply being there. You know, I always ask even my friends, even in my relationships, like, is this comfort, or are we solutioning? Like, what space are we in?
You'd be a good boyfriend. No, I say, hey, you can go back and look at 4 or 5 podcasts. Whenever she comes to talk, hey, are you venting or are you looking for a solution?
Yes.
That way I know exactly which way to listen to you.
Yes.
Typically, she just wants you to watch fucking reality TV with her. But yeah.
It doesn't sound too bad.
No, but knowing that you can talk to somebody and have somebody actually listen to you without any judgment or willing to or wanting to put my opinions upon you, bro, that's a powerful thing. Everybody should have that. You know what I mean? But as a man, I'm not gonna let you stay in that bullshit either.
Yes. And that's what I like appreciate, especially about your relationship. From what I know of it, is there's a good masculine feminine balance, not just between the two of you, but within yourself, right? Like I felt like for a long time I had to really lean into like this masculine energy. Like I was independent, making the money. I had to like do all these things.
Want a man, don't need a man.
Yes. But what?
It's a good way to be a lonely bitch.
Exactly.
No, 100%.
But then at the end of the day, I was like, I actually am exhausted. Like I actually don't want to armor up and carry this sword around. Like I want to like disarm and be able to be a strong leader and also emotional and trust my gut, but also be action based. So like I had to really heal that man wound for a long time. Like that's why I was single forever and ever, because I was like, I can't figure this out. So I'm just gonna.
And now look at you, sis.
Take a little man on I and a man.
And it's healthy and it's happy and they want the best for both partners.
What I heard, and correct me if I'm wrong, letting go of some of that domineering, quote unquote, masculine energy.
Yes.
Would let you be more of a female, number one. But number two, it allowed you to get a partner that could actually take some of that load for you as well too.
Yes. Because I was shush. I was my own partner, basically. Like I was like,
I think a lot of women go through this.
Yes.
Or like feel how you were feeling at that time.
Yes.
Like you're speaking to so many people right now with your experience.
Yeah. So it was just kind of like, and I didn't even know it at the time until he started coming around, and I was like, well, this is lovely.
Yeah.
Like it's calm and peaceful and empathy driven, and we're both very active listeners, and I didn't know that could exist. I thought I had to just walk in and be the boss of everything and everyone all the time. And when I suddenly didn't, one, it was very uncomfortable. I voiced that right out of the gate. Like, just so you know, I'm trying to be soft and feminine and I am sweating and I don't like it.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, I'll deal with it. And I was like, okay.
And like growth.
Yes.
Growth in like your own way.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people need to hear that. I feel like a lot of women in particular have that.
Yes.
Aura. I don't know what it's called.
Yeah.
Where they're very like, what's the word? Not masculine. Alpha male, almost like an alpha male vibe.
Right.
Where like they got it. Like, don't fuck with me.
Right.
I don't need your help. I don't need this. I don't need that. I'm got myself, you know?
Yes.
And I think that a lot of people struggle with that, but like being able to come out on the other side and like let yourself feel those feelings and let yourself take a step back and be like, okay, this is actually healthy for me to find somebody that's actually willing to like come in and take some of those things, you know, for me and want to do that for me.
For sure.
And let it happen and not just block it, because your initial instinct is to like do the opposite and like block that shit out. I don't like this feeling. This is not for me. But like when you like let it happen and just, you know, like look how much healthier and good place you're at right now.
Oh yeah. I always joke. I shouldn't, because he's going to watch this and get an ego. But I was like, my person I'm with right now like makes me want to like get in the kitchen and like bake cookies.
Yeah. You know what the fuck to do. Hey, you putting that dick down. That's what you're doing. That's called a proper dick down. Tony burnt the cookies, but she was in there baking them hoes.
Burnt the cookies.
Yeah. That's all the proper dick down do. That's all you need. Am I lying?
Yeah, that's
it's all just a healthy place.
That's all it is. It's
just healthy. It's healthy for everybody. Yeah. Cookies and all.
It take 37 pumps. 37 good pumps to get some cookies. No.
Pat.
3 dozen pumps, 3 dozen cookies. No, what I was saying though What I'm saying is I understand where that energy can come from.
Yes.
And I don't think it's a bad energy.
Yeah.
I think because sometimes as a woman you have to protect yourself, especially from access to you in a way that you don't want. But what's the goal at the end of the day?
Right.
For both sexes. You know?
Yeah.
Right.
Wrapping it up a little bit and being conscious of your time.
Yes.
2024. If fear doesn't exist, what do you accomplish?
I'm going to make a fuck ton of money this year.
Let's go.
I'm with it.
Yes, you are.
That's my main focus. And it's never actually been a goal of mine. I've been very resistant to making a financial goal because I'm like, it feels kind of ewy. But of course I've had some conversations with all my other like little spiritual community friends, and they were like, nah, you got to reframe that. Like, money is actually an energy exchange. So you are doing something to provide something for someone else, and they have to reciprocate.
Yes.
Otherwise, you're going to end up empty again, giving with nothing in return. So I
I'm
was
a
like,
giver too.
all right, I can get behind that.
I've been very relationship based, not money based. I'm like
Yes.
all about relationships, and I've had to learn and realize same type of thing. Like,
Yes.
I'm such a giver. I'll give anything, especially if it helps somebody or makes somebody feel good or whatever I can do to like help other people. And then oftentimes I've gotten like taken advantage of, or just little things that like with time put little ticks in your tackle box, you know? And so for me too, like that's another thing for me is like getting a better relationship with money and like finances, because we're providing so much to get, you know, it's good to get something in return.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it's for me, it's like a little bit of a reward.
Yeah. Well, and it also allows you to share more experience. For me,
Yes.
to share more experiences with other people. I love Zion.
Yeah.
I would love to take a group of people where I'm originally from, out here to experience nature in the way that I'm, blessed to be able to do.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Or take them to Bryce, or go around these places that you don't even know exist, that look nothing like downtown Dallas, that look nothing like Oak Cliff.
Sure.
So, with that being said, thank you.
Yeah. Thank
We
you.
appreciate
Yes,
this.
it's fun. We'll have to do a part two.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll
You
definitely
have
have to
so
do
much
part two.
knowledge to give.
Part two, when we'll connect with you, probably in like maybe in a month.
Okay.
And the topic that we'll look to work on is trauma. We'll start there.
Ooh,
We'll
that's
and
okay.
trauma. I'm not as versed on the science behind it. I don't know if you are necessarily either, but
Not necessarily, but even just talking about, practices that you would practice if you were either healing yourself or helping somebody else tap into their trauma.
Yeah, I have some books, podcasts. I'm also, I went through trauma-informed weightlifting. It's a methodology or an approach. It's really, I'm telling you, like, we know still so little about our bodies.
It's amazing that you've done all of this.
this is
I love to hear all these things because I feel like to the, most
Naked eye,
people, like I had no idea I knew you were versed in tons of stuff, but like just like actually hearing all your knowledge and all the things you have to give, like I love it so much.
I want to make sure we're versed enough in our background research to be able to ask you questions that make sense.
Yeah.
And if you have any questions, if you're watching this on trauma, generational trauma, write them down and we'll ask Rachel the next time we come around. I
Yeah,
think
let's
that'd be
do
a lot.
it.
Or comment if you have any questions for Rachel. She is a health coach and she trains and virtual too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So literally the door is
The
open
door is
for
open.
all the people.
Cool. And as always, podcasts, Island Talk podcast, don't forget to like, subscribe, and don't comment. I really don't care about those.
No,
I'm just
I
playing-
love
I'm
the
just playing. No, comment.
Share.
Yeah,
And
share,
Rachel's
like, subscribe.
Instagram is
earth.and.iron.wellness.
okay. We'll tag her.
We'll tag her below. We'll
We'll tag her below in the
It wasn't
link.
available without the dots.
Yeah, I know. I hate that.
Speaking of like even tags, we just got Tony's Instagram back. We have to
Oh
go.
yeah, it was suspended randomly, and it's
I-
not for
it's a
community
mess.
guidelines. Even though my ass is out in the last photo I posted.
Yeah.
No.
They
It wasn't for that.
they
It was
got-
just random.
They got wind of my OnlyFans.
Yeah,
And by OnlyFans, I mean I have only one fan that watches my shit.
practically me.
All right, thanks.
But
Rachel.
thanks so
Appreciate
much,
it.
Rachel. You're so
Love is-
amazing. We love you.
Love is